Now, Big 12 basketball tonight, Texas and Baylor. The Big 12 was 7-3 against the SEC. I think the Big 12, based on the numbers, the analytics, the data, the rankings, etc., is the best basketball in the conference, on the country, best basketball conference. I know others have had their run. I know the SEC's proud of what they do. I know a couple of games could have gone either way. 7-3. What in the hell did Oklahoma do in their game? I mean, they crushed Alabama. Stunned by that. Tennessee, Texas, you knew that'd be a great game. Tennessee wins that game. Baylor finds a way to win. There was a lot of people barking about the officiating with Arkansas, and there were a lot of calls. And that's almost like, what did you say to me, Paul? It's like those two teams are just a bad matchup for each other, the way they play, so it's going to make it look even more choppy.
It was, and that's, I don't know if that's the best way to put that, but if I'm Arkansas, I don't want to play a team that can get as hot offensively as Baylor can during stretches, because for the most part, they can't match that right now because they've got injuries. They're not a team that's built on that. And if I'm Baylor, I don't want to play a team that is long and athletic and has the defensive wherewithal that Arkansas has, because that can counteract what I'm doing as well. So it was always going to be a game like that. Arkansas was not going, like, even if Arkansas won, it was going to come down to the last shot or towards the end of the game like it did. Baylor would have been the only team in that matchup that could have gotten hot enough at the end, and they almost did. Almost did, to make it look like there was some distance in that game. But, you know, Adam Flagler, they did a great job. Arkansas did a great job on Flagler all day long. He was also ice cold, which doesn't happen that often, but he's not a guy who's ever going to, you know, not shoot because of it. He's going to shoot his way out of it, which is what you need to do. But he missed a shot late in the game when it would have put them up. They were up 5. It would have put them up 7 or 8 on that possession had they kept feeding Keontae George, who had the hot hand. But, you know, it just turned around, and Arkansas had a shot at the buzzer to win it and didn't. But, yeah, bad matchup for one another completely.
Craig, go ahead. Anything on the Big 12, SEC, 12-7-3 in the games that you saw and also the scores we saw?
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas was right there. And, you know, Baylor fortunate to walk away with a win there. Certainly could have gone the Razorbacks' way. And, yeah, it's another game where, you know, I can see why there's some, you know, gripes about calls or whatever. I think there's other opportunities to win that game throughout as well. But, yeah, it was a tough contest for both teams. And it does seem like when they get together that it's just going to be one of those games. There's probably a lot of fouls called because of just the styles that they play. And, you know, again, Baylor fortunate to walk away with a win there. But, you know, the Big 12 as a whole, and I think Arkansas fans got treated to the Keontae George experience and got to see that up close and personal. And, you know, he just continues to be a fun player to watch. But there's a number of those guys in this roster they're red hot right now. I mean, that's 6 in a row for them, and obviously a big game tonight that's going to, you know, either make it 7 in a row and super hot, or, you know, bring it all to a halt. But, I mean, they've really, you know, rebounded quite nicely from the start to Big 12 play and look much more like the team that can go make a run in the tournament versus the team where you're like, are they going to make the tournament? I mean, I don't know how in question that really was, but when you start off the way that they did and you look at the Big 12 schedule, just ask Texas Tech how sideways that can get in a hurry. And so they have fortunately avoided the Tech slide and dug themselves out of that hole to where now, I mean, it's, you know, tonight's huge. I mean, a huge game. So the challenge as a whole, not sad that it's going to the wayside, but, you know, I thought it was a fun event, and I know there will be other things like it that take the place for both sides, but it was a nice little challenge all these years. And, yeah, as more of a Big 12 guy, was happy to see the Big 12 side go ahead and take care of business and do so convincingly, and you know, really go out with an exclamation point with the 7-3 kind of lopsided totals there at the end. But yeah, just a good day of basketball, some fun matchups, and, you know, some surprising results, as you mentioned. Oklahoma over Alabama. I mean, that was pretty stunning. Not only because the Sooners won that game, but how they won that game. I don't think many people were expecting that. But yeah, just a great day for Big 12 basketball, and the SEC has some great teams as well. But, you know, I just like that, you know, there's a lot of talk at times about who's the best and who's the pound-for-pound conference and blah, blah, blah. And the Big 12 got to go out and show that, and they did, and they took care of their business. So that was fun to see.
And by the way, had the SEC won 7 of 3, and they've won a few of these before, but had they just gone 7-3. The 3 teams that lost in the Big 12, TCU, who was playing fantastic,
but lost
Iowa
Mike
State,
Miles.
Yep. Iowa State beaten by an old Big 8, Big 12 rival in Missouri. That's got a little bit of back and forth with it. And then Texas playing what is now the number 2 ranked team, as I mentioned, in Tennessee by 12. So the 3 losses were 3 of like your top, depending on where you want to put them, your top 5 teams.
Yeah.
And they were not able to come away. Real quickly, go ahead. You follow up something else.
And Kansas beats Kentucky, and that I know it's not a Big 12 win for them, but just like Baylor needed that win against West Virginia so bad, I think Kansas needed that, especially in Kentucky, to get some momentum. And that is I didn't know this. I just thought it was like one of those things where all the blue bloods hate each other, but just living in the situation that I do now, Kentucky is a bigger rival for Kansas than I thought I even realized before.
How would you not think that, though?
I mean, I just thought like Kansas, Duke, Kentucky, like all those schools are just going to hate each other because they're always getting these blue chips. But how often do you really see each other to make it a rivalry? But like it's
that's the bluest
like,
of blood.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
the blood. It's like it's just I just thought it was one of those things like, Georgia fans might hate USC, even though they're never gonna like really intersect until the end. But yeah, it was kind of that thing. I didn't realize. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was like, dang.
Yeah, no, that's one that I'm kind of surprised you weren't more aware of just that one. But you'll see plenty of that one.
Did you get demerits for not knowing that?
No, I knew it was bad. I just did like the way that like it's not only just her, but like all these Kansas fans I've met, they were like, man, Kentucky. I'm like, okay, well, you don't play them all that often, but yeah, sure.
So West Virginia is nice for them to get a win. I should also mention that. I mean, they could use all the good that they can get, and so that was good to get a top 15 W over Auburn. I was super not surprised but pleased by seeing that result come rolling down. And I mean, as y'all mentioned, good for Tech. They needed a win badly as well, and they were able to get one over LSU. So that was also good. Oklahoma State, I mean, and they'll take wins where they can get them too. So beat a bad Ole Miss team was good to see. So yeah, I mean, there were some surprising results, but ultimately Big 12 again was quite convincing, and some teams that maybe are struggling at the bottom of the standings because of who they're playing night in night out got to take out some frustrations on some other teams.
Tech, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good weekend of hoops.
Keelani is upset. He goes, they ran the audio of the whistle that